evening. I'm obviously not Roland Vaughn, so Roland's out of town, as are two other of our council members tonight. So Anne Marie asked me to sit in. We've got a short docket tonight, and we've just got 3 committee meetings: the Utility Committee, the Administrative Committee, and the Finance Committee. And the first committee that we're going to hear from is the Utilities Committee, and it is chaired by Mr. Quinn.
Yes, sir. I am chaired by it. I'm chaired by it. However, I'm going to need help on this, and I'm going to ask our town manager, Anne Marie Knighton, to give me a hand. It's a complicated situation, but very straightforward another way. I would appreciate that if you would.
I'll be happy to present and help frame the item that is before the Utilities Committee tonight, and that is the lease agreement that the town has with NetChange. And NetChange is a local internet provider. Back in 2007, NetChange approached the town and asked and negotiated an agreement to attach an antenna on the top of one of our water towers. And at that time, the agreement called for them to pay a monthly fee that was equivalent to $1 per foot in terms of the height of how high the antenna was up on the water tower, and that worked out to be $200 a month. In addition, the agreement calls for NetChange, because it was internet, to provide certain town offices or certain town facilities that were not able to access internet. So for the last 8 years, in addition to paying the $200 a month rental to attach to the water tower, NetChange has also been providing internet service at no charge to our wastewater treatment plant out on Mexico Road, to the park attendant's office located out here in Colonial Park, to the fire department, to Public Works, and also they provide a Wi-Fi network in the harbor and Colonial Park. The town put a value on what those internet services are to the town, and it works out to be approximately $199 per month. So in addition to the $200 a month for the antenna attachment, we're receiving another $199 a month in benefit and services, so almost $400 a month. And during budget review, it was pointed out that the lease agreement had not been updated, that we should go back and talk to NetChange and negotiate more revenue for the town. And some had compared this agreement to the agreements that we have with the cellular phone companies. And I put in your packet, or Tammy put in your packet, a comparison of what those contracts call for. And they're very different. Those attachments are much more complex. There's multiple cables running up the side of the leg of a water tower, and in most cases there are at least 2 antennas attached on the towers, and at the base of the tower is usually a utility building with a generator and other equipment. So it's more complicated than an antenna that is at the top of one of the water towers.
So it's more of an investment on their part to do that.
It is, and it's it's something that the cellular companies, that's a big portion of their business, is instead of having to build standalone antennas, they're doing those kind of attachments. But I think when you look at what NetChange has on our tower, it's very minimal when you compare to all of the equipment that's attached for a cellular and on the ground. Exactly. I really pondered this. When I met with NetChange, they reminded me that they're a local business, they're a local company, they have 3 employees, they pay property taxes on their building, they pay all sorts of payroll taxes and sales tax, and they also, as you all know, you see them around town, that they support other civic and educational endeavors. So they're a different type of company, they're homegrown and local. They also provide a service that if they were not to be on our tower and not to be on, they're on a tower with Chowan County, that there are approximately 140 customers in the county that would have no other option for internet. At the very northern end of the tower, at the very northern end of the county, they serve an area that has no other alternative, and then at the southern end of the county also. So I think all of that in total gives a picture that it's a business, they're providing, they're paying their way, they're paying a service, they have employees, and they're also providing, a service that we want all of our residents, all of our citizens to have access to. So when I looked at the agreements that we have with the cellular phone companies, I noticed that most of them, not all of them, but the ones that have been negotiated in the past 5 years, have an automatic renewal clause, an automatic increase every year. And I think that's what was missing from us, that had we had that in the beginning, that each year, if the rental rate increased a little bit, we might not be having this discussion. So it appeared to me that when you looked at the cellular agreements, the annual increase that you all have negotiated with them is 3%. Every year, the agreement goes up 3%. So I went back to 2010, which is when we should have looked at renegotiating with net change, and compounded 3% for 5 years to 2015, and came up with $231 a month would be where you should be now. And my recommendation would be that would be what you negotiate with net change, and then going forward, that every year at the renewal time, the 3% would kick in.
Did you discuss that with them?
I did. I told them that was what my recommendation was.
How did they respond?
They were, they thought it was fair and reasonable, and they said that they would be happy to talk with you all individually about it, but it's an important part of their business. Without that attachment, the business doesn't work. So they need us, and yet
we need them, to be candid with you. It's very important on the park. It's important for the boats that come in here.
Yeah, that's good value in that.
I would definitely think we should take this forward for a vote.
And I think
Norma.
is Elton on your committee, Mr. Bond?
Yeah.
I'm on that committee?
Yeah.
I think it's a bit, yes, I did. I marked something else, excuse me. But I think it's a very, very good deal, and we do need their services here in the town. And it's a moderate increase.
Well, we can put it on the agenda, and then we can decide. Yeah, then we can just, I don't know whether we want to get them here at some point to talk to us, or whatever. I'll leave that to you.
Think we need to do that.
All right, we'll just move it to the agenda.
All right, thank you.
So I think that's it for the Utility Committee. Thank you. The next on our agenda is the Administrative Committee, which is full of items. So I'll turn that over to Norma.
Thank you, Councilor Dixon. I'm not Steve Biggs, but I'm Norma Simpson. He does a good job with the Administrative Committee. And I'll turn this over to Anna Marie with the Northeastern Commission building.
Okay, I'll try to summarize the issue that is before the committee tonight. The council has completed interviews. They received 2 proposals in response to the solicitation that Destination Downtown and the town put out. the council did a Skype interview, which was a little bit awkward with the technology, but we did have a pleasant and informative conversation with David Alared from Austin, Texas, back in June. And then last week, the council had a special meeting and heard a presentation from John Glover about his proposal for the building. And since that time, we understand that Mr. Alared has made plans to visit Edenton. During the Skype interview, it was suggested that he should come to Edenton and visit and see the building that he proposes to purchase and develop into a restaurant. And he will be here the week of, early in the week of August 9th, which coincides with your council meeting. He will be here, and so it's our recommendation that, well, he'll be arriving late Sunday. He'll have all Monday to tour and visit and inspect the building and get a feel for the community. And then the same thing on Tuesday, but that we invite him to come to the meeting Tuesday night to meet you all in person, to reacquaint himself with you, and then to present his impressions of the building by having the opportunity to inspect it, and then also his impressions of the community and how that factors into his proposal. So that would be one of the committee recommendations. Then the other recommendation is that you really begin to set a timetable. You hopefully will want to set some time to deliberate and discuss the proposals, as the mayor said you all would do at an upcoming committee meeting.
And could we do that on the 24th of August?
You could.
'Cause, I mean, tonight isn't the night
Yep.
to do that. Yeah.
Yep, when you have a full cadre of members. But between now and then, I think it would be appropriate if you wanted to direct the staff, and that would be myself and Jennifer and Nancy Nichols, to begin to conduct the economic impact analysis of the two proposals, because as you know, we've been studying, you all have been studying the various options regarding how to handle the real estate transaction if you decide to pursue that. And it would be based on making some findings regarding the economic impact of each project. And that would give us just about a month to really work on delving into the proposals from an economic standpoint. And then finally, if there are any questions or any other research that you have thought about that you want the staff to begin investigating in anticipation of your review in late August. We think we can use this 30 days to really try and help do some due diligence on your behalf.
And then would we have a public comment time? I mean, I think that's really important for this.
Absolutely.
You know, to have the public.
Yep, there would have to be public comment and public hearings, and you can talk about how and when you want to do that at the 24th. You know, perhaps at your regular meeting in September, you would want to schedule a public hearing to get comments. Madam Chair, I think the committee, we're asking the committee to make several recommendations. One, invite Mr. Alared to come to the council meeting on the 9th. Number two, to direct the staff to conduct the economic impact analysis of the two proposals that are before you. And then if you have research or questions or additional information you want us to pursue, please share that with us so that we can do that work on your behalf. And then set a goal to review the economic analysis and deliberate the proposals at your August 24th committee meeting.
And then when would we would talk about it, but I think at some point before we make our decision, we need to hear what the public says. So,
Yeah,
I mean,
I don't know.
when we say deliberate,
anticipate
yeah, okay.
You would be making any final
Decisions, we would just talk
You
about it,
would
okay,
need- yes,
got it.
Yes.
We would have it in a open meeting or a public meeting in September?
I think, well, you can talk about that at your
Okay.
August meeting, but I think that would be a good goal to have, that say, after
Maybe.
you deliberate, you may say, we're not interested in either one of these, or you may say, well, this is a preferred one, or let's hear what the public has to say, but I think it's important for us to start working on the economic analysis for
Okay.
you.
So that's, Norma, that's you and Elton, y'all want to send that the full, send that
Yes.
schedule on?
Yeah.
Okay.
Seems like a good one.
Okay, I'm going to turn the bicycle helmet compliance law over to you, Norma.
And I'm gonna just turn it over to the chief. Chief Fortenberry represent the proposal plan.
Thank you, Ms. Simpson and council. As you can see in your packet, we came up with a plan of action to address the problem of kids not wearing their bicycle helmets. We've been addressing the problem for the past couple of years and trying to educate the public and the kids on the safety issues involved in wearing bicycle helmets. We know it's safer for kids to wear bicycle helmets, and the council did even pass an ordinance and include it. It's not only state law for parents to require their children to wear helmets, but it's also a town ordinance for parents to require their children to wear helmets. So with this plan, we will go ahead and set a date when we will start. This will be the date, October 1st, as you can see in the plan, that we will start issuing violations to parents. Up to that time, we'll engage in multiple partners and try to get the word out even more, and use the paper, use civic groups, use every means we can, set up more booths. We've probably given away 500 helmets to date, and we'll get more helmets. The Safe Kids North Carolina has some more helmets that we can give away to kids, and we can continue to do that. And I think this plan is a good plan, and it does set a deadline for, okay, hey, this is when October 1st we'll start issuing tickets to parents, because it's the law. It's actually a violation for the parents to knowingly allow the child to ride the bicycle without a helmet. So we had thought about it one time, actually maybe taking bikes from kids, but the kids are not in violation. It's the parents that are in violation.
Well,
the way the law is written.
Is there any recourse on the parent?
It's a $10 ticket, and it can be charged as a local ordinance, or it can be charged as a state citation. And if we charge a local ordinance, the plan includes charging a local ordinance the first time, and subsequent violations charging the state violation. But it still remains a $10 infraction, and the district attorney's office could waive the fee if the parent showed up with a helmet. And we could do the same thing at the police department. Is that the issue is locating the parent.
After a certain number of times, can you require a court appearance?
Well, the ticket would require a court appearance unless they paid the $10 fine. So if we wrote a state citation. So the second offense, if they failed to pay the fine, it would have a court date set. So they would have to appear.
If they don't pay?
Yes, if they don't pay.
What about repeaters?
Well, there is no clause in that for repeat offenders, multiple offenses or anything. And in the law, it's not written with
Do we have any
repeat offenders.
ability to have something in there on our own, on a local cause?
That's a possibility. I'm not sure that we can overstep the bounds of state law.
I don't think it's overstepping.
If we made ours harsher than the state does, there may be some issues with that.
Is that something Hood could help us with?
Hood Ellis could look into that and any legal
I'd really appreciate it.
implications for
Because
that.
that's going to be the problem.
Yeah, it is. It's a $10 ticket. Helmets usually cost $10 to $12 too.
And you can't take, you don't want to take the helmet away.
No,
Okay.
So, but that's the plan, if you guys agree with that.
Thanks for all your hard work on that. And I would just add that maybe if you can start looking at places we could put bike paths, so that we could even, with just paint, that we could stripe, some bike lanes. Because I think that it would slow traffic, it'd be a traffic calmer, which is what we're all trying to do. And it would also give these bicycles a place to be other than the sidewalk or fighting the traffic. A lot of communities now are doing that, and it seems to be a traffic calmer, and with almost no expense but paint.
Good point.
And what age group are we talking about?
Less than 16, 15 and under. And once they turn 16, they don't have to wear a helmet anymore.
So do I hear consensus we send that to the full council?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The next thing on the administrative committee is the council procedures for for conducting meetings. I'm going to turn that over to Norma.
Ms. Anne-Marie, if you will help me with that.
Okay. The town council, many years ago, adopted a set of rules and procedures, and that is how they operate their meetings, and the procedures can be amended from time to time. And the last couple of months, some of you have mentioned to the mayor that should your procedures be amended to include some sort of provision for managing the time limits or implementing time limits during the public hearings and public comments. I think there was a concern over the last couple of public hearings that people were saying the same thing. Yes, there you go, over-talking, that's a nice way to put it. And it was pointed out that in the past, when we've had issues that the council anticipated would generate a great deal of public comment, that you, at those hearings, implemented rules, and it worked fairly well. I don't think there was ever a complaint or a problem. I remember with the Lowe's deliberation conditional use permit, and then way many years ago on some rezonings, that you implemented a time limit of 3 minutes, and I think we only had to gong, 1 or 2 people that could not complete what they wanted to say within the 3 minutes. And some have mentioned that other communities, other councils have employed much better technology on measuring and alerting when the 3 minutes are up. I remember sitting with a watch and the 3 minutes would be up, and I'd nudge the mayor, and then the mayor is so polite, he would wait until the person finished their sentence, which was usually almost another minute long. So we've heard of some council members that have a red button and a green button, and when they start speaking, I would hit the green button, and then when the 3 minutes are up, the red button, tells them their time is up.
That makes it most fair.
Exactly. So we wanted to see what your thoughts are on that, and then also in the report, there was, we've had some people question residencies, that if somebody comes from another county or another city and takes up a lot of your time, is that allowable, appropriate? And we had the town attorney to review that, and he says that the statutes do permit the council to adopt reasonable rules governing the conduct, and that a reasonable rule could be to require that the person be a resident of, he suggests Chowan County, which I think makes sense, because a lot of people in the county, issues that we discuss can impact them. But there's always the provision that you could waive that requirement in order for under circumstances where an individual wishes to speak to you. For example, I could see perhaps someone that owns a business who might live in Pasquotank, or even live in a different state, who happens to be in town visiting and wanted to speak on an issue. So I guess the 2 main points for consideration are you interested in recommending to the council to consider amending the procedures to allow for time limits, to also allow for some sort of fair use of technology, and then also to consider residency requirements with waivers under special circumstances.
I would like to see it taken to
Full council.
made for you.
Well, one thing, I think if you own property in town, you ought to, it's not just being a resident.
Resident.
I think if you're paying if you're paying taxes here,
You may
we
not
don't want
live
to
here.
chill speech.
Right,
I want
right.
everybody that has something to say to be able to say it. And I think owning, I think you have a stake here if you own
Well, I don't
property.
disagree with that,
Yep.
but I do think that it's a good idea to have the conditions and restrictions
Yeah.
that we're talking about. I don't think we should deny somebody that, as you say, is paying taxes in
Yeah,
it.
this is a
Yeah,
democracy,
you're
and I
right.
think that,
Yep.
people need to be heard if they care enough to talk.
And one other thing I wanted to point out, we had one of our citizen friends reviewed the procedures and pointed out to us that these procedures still say that you will start your council meeting, your regular meetings, at 7:30 PM. And you changed that years ago, so we need to reflect that in the procedures. So that was a
Want to
good
address
catch.
that one.
So what's the pleasure of the committee? You want to send that on with those
Yes,
changes? Okay. And then the next thing on the administrative committee's agenda is the tobacco-free workplace policy and the amendment to the personnel policy. And Norma, I'm going to turn it over to you again.
We have a lot on tonight. Anna Marie will tell us a little about this also.
Okay. Back in the mid-1990s, the town council adopted an amendment to the personnel policy that declared inside of town buildings and facilities as smoke-free. And since that time, a lot of things have changed and evolved regarding tobacco use. The other piece of the policy back in the mid-90s was that if there were more than one employee riding in a vehicle that was owned by the town, then no smoking would be allowed in the vehicle. And it has, we talked to our wellness committee and talked to the department heads, and we have seen where other towns and counties are amending their policies to, first of all, include smokeless, is that what it's called? Smokeless cigarettes or e-cigarettes as a tobacco product that would not be allowed to be used in our buildings. And then also, there's a concern about, we do allow smokers on a break to smoke outside, but that we should designate that area, because there are instances where if somebody's standing outside the doorway smoking and then another employee exits that door, they're faced with having to encounter secondhand smoke. And so we saw where other communities are adopting policies that require a designated area that is at least 50 feet away from a door or an exit that's used by other employees, and that no smoking at all in town vehicles. It's very difficult if someone's riding in a town vehicle and someone says, "You mind if I smoke?" and they light up. It's hard for some people to say, "I do mind, please don't smoke." And then we also have had concerns about employees. Someone may use a town vehicle, have smoked in it, and then the next day someone else has to use it, and there's still the remnants of the smoke. And so we're recommending, and it's been done in other communities, that we not allow smoking in any town-owned or town-leased vehicle, that we include e-cigarettes in the prohibition of tobacco use, and also direct that designated smoking area has to be 50 feet away from an exit or doorway that is used by employees. And we would recommend that, and I'm really pleased with the response that we've had from when we talked to the wellness committee and to the department heads about this policy. So there seems to be a lot of support for it. I know not all the employees are going to be happy with it, but the overwhelming majority view it as a good thing.
I think it's a good thing.
I do too.
Well, I'm all for it.
Okay. Y'all want to send that to
I'm all
full,
for it,
okay,
yes.
full council? And then the last thing on the administrative committee is it's time for boards and commissions to update those. And I'll turn that over to you, Norma.
Anna Marie can do that also.
Okay? It's, this is very routine. The terms are expiring. We've sent letters to those that are eligible to be reappointed. And I thought all of the letters that you received from people requesting to be reappointed were
great.
so great.
Yes, I
They
thought so
thoughtful.
too.
really
and
are. Everybody wants to stay.
And they tell you why they want to stay, and it's very touching and great that we have so many people that want to continue to serve the town. So just to give you an update, what we would recommend is that that the committee consider at the next regular meeting reappointing those that are eligible to serve another term, which would be Tom Newbern on the Historic Preservation Commission, Lori Ann Curtin on the Board of Adjustment, Craig Miller on Planning Board, Willie Boone on the Planning Board, John Moorhead on the Tree Committee, and we have, I need to double check if we've heard back from our two on the Recreation Advisory Board. And then also, you know that Mr. Callback, he has served the maximum number of terms, but he's been appointed, he's on our Airport Commission, he's chair of the Airport Commission, and he has been appointed by the governor to serve on a special statewide aviation task force. And he is doing great work on behalf of not only our airport, but all of the rural, small, general aviation airports. And we think it's important for him to continue to serve on that, in that capacity, and so we would recommend that you let him to continue to serve on the Airport Commission until that project is completed.
I think he's shown a desire to do that, too.
Yeah. We will be advertising. You have a vacancy. We got a note. You got a note from
Good
Jack
Dredge.
Dredge has submitted his letter of resignation. He served faithfully on the Historic Preservation Commission, so there will be a unexpired term available on the Preservation Commission that we'll advertise for. Is that okay? Good report? Good report.
So I think that's it for the administrative committee. Thank you,
Thank you.
Norma. And then the last committee we're going to hear from tonight is the Finance Committee. And Mr. Quinn, since I'm sitting here, this is your budget amendment to talk about.
I'm trying to remember the aspects of that, of the committee.
I can
We
help
had
you
a-
with that.
Yeah,
This
we've got
is-
the budget, and there were certain amendments to the budget that we wanted to discuss, or
This is a good
Move
thing.
forward.
This is good. This is an easy amendment. When we have revenue coming in from another source, we have applied for a grant from the Division of Aviation, as a matter of fact, to replace and update our AWAS system, and I had to look up what AWAS was. I know what it is, but I didn't know what it stands for. And that stands for Automatic Weather Observation System. And it is a radio-based technology, radio frequency that monitors weather conditions around the airport, in the sky. It measures all sorts of weather indicators that tells pilots if it's safe and I guess reasonable to land. It's an important navigation aid. Our current system is about 15 years old, and something has gone wrong with it. I don't know if it got hit by lightning, but something needs to be replaced, and the division recommended that the whole system be replaced and is willing to fund the grant. And so the budget amendment is for $24,722 that would come into the town as revenue, And then on the expense side, the AWAS system will actually cost a little bit more than that 24,000. It will cost 27,469. And so the town has to match 10%. And we worked with Randy, our finance officer, and Harry Davis, our airport manager, and recommend that you transfer $1,000 from the maintenance repair runway account and $1,747 from the maintenance repair navigation system into the AWAS update expense system. The Airport Commission's been working hard on this. Mr. Callback has helped us with the grant, and so we recommend that this budget amendment go to the full council, please.
Certainly concur with that. I'd like to take it to the council.
Okay, we'll do that. And I think that concludes our business. Just before we leave, I was looking at these letters. I think it's really important that we have so much citizen input into this community. And one of the things I really liked is two comments. One was by John Moorhead. He said, "I appreciate living in Edenton where so many are dedicated so far beyond the call of duty. And I'm always pleased to be able to do my part." I think that really says a lot. And then Mr. Willie Boone says, you know, "I want to help facilitate the needs of the people that this board serves and to continue to work for the advancement of our town and serve our community." I think that's a really nice way to end this meeting. So do I hear, I'll call for a vote to...
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Okay.
Second.
I second.
Everybody in agreement?
Yes. There you go.
Over.
Nice job.
Thank you all.
Thank you.